my daughter was born, and she was born with a condition called microtia and atresia. Diagnosis or thing is where in the womb, one of the ears or both ears do not fully develop. So my daughter's
Um,
case, her right ear did not fully develop. It's kind of like a little nub. She doesn't have an ear canal. So I mean, I was kind of worried about that. We didn't know what to expect. We never heard of it. We never met anyone with it. Um, so I was kind of like, okay, well, now we're in this. We're gonna persevere.
we are back on another episode of Beyond the Uniforms. Today we have Jacob Rosales, who I connected with on LinkedIn, and just browsing through his profile like most people do, and because they want to be nosy. I thought it was really cool that he has actually published a book, and we're going to get into that in just a minute. But it's not just any book; it's specifically to a target audience, and I really want to get him on here and talk to him about his journey and how he did that and what inspired him to do that. And if he's got any other projects coming up. And so we didn't really discuss that before we went live. I want to do this just straight as is, live, real, unedited as usual. And so, Jacob, thanks so much, man, for taking some time out of your day to hop on and talk to us a little bit about your venture.
Oh no, of course. I appreciate you inviting me on here. I'm excited to be
Yeah,
part of
man,
this.
for sure. Yeah, let's dive into it, man. Let's talk a little bit about, why'd you decide to join the service and what did you do? What branch?
No, that makes sense. So I decided to join the service. I really had no direction in my life at the time. I joined when I was 20 years old. Attempted college, didn't take it seriously enough. Failed out of college. Had no confidence in myself, and just had no picture of what my future looked like. I had a couple family members who joined the military, and I was like, you know what? I'm not doing anything right now that's really benefiting me into my future. So let me just go ahead. I went to the recruiting office, and they said I was one of the easiest recruits. I went in there and said, hey, get me out of here as soon as possible. So that's what I did. I joined as a 9-2 Fox Petroleum Supply Specialist, started at the very bottom of a E1, and realized pretty quickly that there was something in me with my drill sergeants, my first platoon sergeant. They're like, man, we see a leader in you. So after they kind of instilled that confidence in me, and I did my best to strive to be the best I can be. So I got promoted E5, 2.5 years.
Wow.
At the time, there was these new brigades called the Security Force Assistance Brigades that were coming out. And I was like, you know what? You have to apply, interview. So I went through the process, and I got selected as a young E5. And once I got into that unit at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, with 2nd SFAB, that's when I met so many great people, so many great leaders, E6s, 7s, and above, captains and above, who really saw my potential and helped bring that out of me. And my confidence only flourished from then. I was able to go to Iraq and be at the time, advisor, which I didn't know now as a consultant in the civilian world, but I was advising them on their logistics operations. And during that time, I started my bachelor's degree in business administration while I was in Iraq, and tapped in. I was using my TA, but I was like, man, I want to get this done quick, because I knew, as an enlisted, I felt like my potential was never going to be really fulfilled. I feel like there's so much more I can give to myself. So I was able to get my bachelor's degree in 2 years and 3 months on the dot, just from taking
Wow,
2
man.
to 3 classes every 8 weeks through DeVry University. And then whenever I got finished with that, I was like, okay, I'm done. And then my wife was just like, well, what now? What are you going to do now? And I was like, you know what? Let me go straight for my MBA. And I was going to apply through DeVry University, but she motivated me to apply for University of Florida. They had a 1-year MBA program. I still have plenty of time left on my GI Bill. So I was like, you know what? Let me go straight to that. And I was able to achieve that. So I did all this within 3.5 years, got my bachelor's and my master's. And then from there, and I was like, okay, I think my time in the military is kind of up. I applied for the OCS candidate school to be an officer. I got denied because at the time when I applied, I had 3 weeks left of my bachelor's degree. And they said, well, you need your bachelor's degree right now. So I was like, okay, well, you know what? Let me just go ahead and focus on my transition. So I got to my last unit, the 82nd Cab, And from those 2 years, I knew like, okay, I'm transitioning, so let's focus on it now. So I was looking at many programs. Let's see just what opportunities were out there. And I was lucky to see the Hiring Our Heroes Fellowship Program, where I applied, got accepted into, and had the pleasure of working with Oracle, part of their internship fellowship program. And that's where I'm at right now.
Nice, man. Well, that is a lot, man, that you have done in such a short amount of time. Congratulations on all that.
Thank you.
That is like big 2 major successes. I know milestones, maybe. I don't know. It's a little bit different in the Air Force. I mean, it takes us, I don't know, I don't even remember, 4 or 5 years maybe to even try to make staff sergeant, E5. But you did it in 2.5?
2.5 years, yeah.
2.5 years, man.
Mm-hmm.
And then you knocked out your master's degree as well.
Yes.
Which is phenomenal, because I think a lot of people, especially like myself, I was on that 10-year degree program. I was on that 10-year bachelor program. I took some courses here, took some there. I wasn't really all that serious about it because I don't know, it was just another path that I went down. But that's awesome, man. Congratulations on all that.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
So is it interning? Is that what you're doing now?
No, I'm working full time as a functional
Okay.
consultant for Oracle.
Gotcha. Okay. And so that is completely different from, a little bit different from obviously the military duties, but it might be kind of related with the consultant part of it, right? Now, when you made the transition, there was some point where you decided to dive into publishing or writing. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I would say it was during my first year in the Army. Oh, my 1 year before I got out of the Army. My daughter was born, and she was born with a condition called microtia and atresia. Diagnosis or thing is where in the womb, one of the ears or both ears do not fully develop. So my daughter's case, her right ear did not fully develop. It's kind of like a little nub. She doesn't have an ear canal. So I mean, I was kind of worried about that. We didn't know what to expect. We never heard of it. We never met anyone with it. So I was kind of like, okay, well, now we're in this, we're going to persevere. So we try to look for books. Like, and one thing my wife and I had a goal was we're going to read to our daughter, even as a newborn, to read to her. And then let's try to find a book that maybe kind of talks about it. And we could not really find one out there. So I was looking, and there's a couple that I didn't like, that was like really not really children friendly. So I just told my wife, like, you know what, like, why not try to make one? So I did a bunch of research on how to publish. I saw that Amazon has their publishing services. You kind of just got to provide like a PDF format version of the book. So I just began writing. I began writing a cute little story as best as I can, and wanted to pretty much show my daughter in the story that, like, hey, this is what you have. There's no need to feel non-confident about it, especially because I felt I had problems with confidence growing up. So I can only imagine how she will feel with that condition. So I was just writing away, talking to my wife, talking to my friends and family, seeing what they thought about it. And then whenever I felt like the story was good enough, I reached out to an illustrator on Fiverr, I believe, and said, hey, here's my book outline. What can you do for me? And he really helped me put those illustrations together. And then it was honestly pretty simple and easy. Amazon made it pretty simple, put the pages together. I got the Adobe, put the words on the pages, made it look as nice as possible, and then just submitted to Amazon. And then here we are today.
Nice, man. That's really inspiring, because, I think a lot of businesses, they start because there was a problem and the person couldn't find a solution, and so they decided to create the solution. This one is particularly unique and also personal for you, because it's, your daughter. And how old is she?
She is turning 2 in October now.
Okay, great. Well, happy early birthday to her. Ours is November, and she's, kind of like from, your situation. She's your miracle little girl, and ours is as well. It took us many years in high and hell water to finally get her. I nicknamed her my little Porsche baby, because that's about how much she costs us. But there's that sense of connection that you have, obviously, because it's your child. But then, when you're wanting to find, even like for us, when we were going through our problems, like we were we were searching the end. I think my wife, I still make fun, I don't make fun of her, but we joke about it to this day that I think she's the only person in the world, because she is like OCD and she will research stuff to the end. Like she will search for it. Like there is no joke about that. Vacations are very stressful for her because she has to, anyway. So I say all that because I think she's the only person I think that has found the actual end of the internet. And she's, when we were going through that process, there wasn't a whole lot of information about there. And so like in your situation, there wasn't a whole lot, obviously, because it's such a, maybe it's a rare condition. Maybe that might be the right way to put it. So the book that you wrote, is it more for, I mean, I guess it could be both, but would it be more to help the child understand the situation, or would it be more geared towards like the parent trying to understand what it is and then teach the child like what's happening or what's going on?
Oh no, for sure. I think it's more towards the child. Like I want her to read it one day when she's able to read and just understand like, hey, I have this condition and there's nothing different from like that I am compared to anyone else with 2 ears. And that's the main thing. I just want to instill that confidence in her as early as possible for her just to understand where she can go to school, she can go out public places, and she just won't feel different compared to anyone else. So I think that's the main reason why I wrote the book.
No, that's awesome. When did you release it, or when did it come out?
I released it July of last year, so we just hit our 1 year anniversary.
Oh, nice. Well, congrats on that. What's the name of it? So people
it's
can go check
a
it out.
Little Ear, Big Heart on Amazon.
Little Ear, Big Heart. That's nice. That's a beautiful title. So and she's the only one? Only kid you guys have?
No, we had our second April of this year.
Oh, well, so, man, it's
2 girls. Yeah, they're both surprise genders. So we didn't know what gender they're going to be until they came out. Then I got to call, and they have to be 2 beautiful little girls.
Nice, man. That's beautiful. That's very, very touching. So for anybody who may be listening, because I know we've all thought about doing our own self-publishing, or maybe we reach out to some of these big publishing companies. And obviously being a writer and being an author sometimes can be a little maybe intimidating, because you have to meet all these, you have to have a name, you have to have, all these big publishing companies, they want this stuff because they know that the investment that they're going to put into you to publish this book, they need to get an ROI out of it, of course, right? Mm-hmm. Understandably. But there has been a lot of self-published authors and a lot of people that have done their own things, such as yourself. Can you talk a little bit about like that process? I mean, I know you touched on it a little bit, but people are going, was it really that simple? Like, did you really just create the story, go hire somebody, and then Amazon, boom, and that's it? Like, was it really that simple, or is there a little more to that?
Honestly, I would say, yeah, like, and to touch on your point, I mean, I did reach out to publishing companies, emailed, I want to say up to 10 to 20. Like, it was quite a bit. Same storyline, trying to make it sound better every time. Good summaries. And I just kept getting no. Yeah. So it was just, all right, well, let me Google what will it take for me to do this on my own, like without a publishing company? Because at first I thought I needed a published company. Mm-hmm. And I mean, Amazon with their millions of dollars, their ads were one of the first ones that came up, of course, and really looked into it. And honestly, like the way they laid it out, I would say it's not easy, because you still have to put the time, you still have to put the effort, you still got to put a good viable product out there. But I mean, when it comes to Amazon publishing, they don't care about the quality of product. Like if you want to put something out there, you're able to put it out there. So I think that's why I say it was easy, where they're not going to review it and then deny it or say like, no, this ain't good enough. Like, hey, you want to do this? Hey, all right, you go ahead and do this. And then of course they're going to take their percentage out of shipping and creating the book. But I mean, once I put the PDF document together, they give you a template. Hey, this is exactly how the format needs to be, picture, size, everything. If you can make it fit all this, upload it, and then we'll let you know if we can do it or not. And then it's as simple as that.
Wow, that is definitely a lot simpler than, because I worked with a private chef. She's actually not too far from me, and we did a few videos on because she released a cookbook this past summer, and I shot some videos for her, and she was kind of telling the process, and she went through a publisher, and like there was a lot of back and forth, like as far as image quality, what pages had to be with the colors, the title, like the layout of the title, and if certain things like the publisher didn't like it, was rejected, and that part, that part of the book had to come back and forth. But it sounds like there was, I mean, essentially there's none of that, right?
No, not at all. And the most feedback I got wasn't from Amazon. It was just family and friends who I would send the book to, like the covers, the illustrations, the way the words were laid out, and then just ask them like, "Hey, how does this look? What do you recommend?" But when it came to Amazon, like I said, it's just all right. Can you fit this page within this
Yeah.
template? And if you can, all right, yeah, we'll send it out.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense for them because they're not investing any money into you. So if your stuff doesn't sell, then it doesn't matter because, well, one,
Exactly.
they're a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate, right? And two, if you don't sell, they don't make money, and so there's no reason for them to invest any effort or resources into helping you out, I guess, other than, like you said,
Mhm.
does your stuff fit within this? It's kind of like
Yeah.
this, putting the peg into the right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now if you were to, so do you have any plans to do another book?
So I wouldn't say another one, but I do have a lot of requests to doing them in different languages. So I'm thinking of
Yeah,
whenever I
yeah.
find the time, just putting in different languages so that because one thing I've noticed is when you sell on Amazon, there's a page you can go to that tells you how much orders are pushed out and then what countries are buying them from. And I didn't realize people Australia, Canada, Japan, and the Europe, and I'm just like, wow, like I didn't think people from these other countries would get it. So and I think we made my daughter like a little TikTok when she was first born to kind of like just show a little bit more awareness that we haven't really kept up with. And one of the requests on TikTok when we put the book up there was that is there's this book like in Spanish or just some other language out there so that they can understand and reach their kids also. Because I also understand that in more lesser countries, of course, this diagnosis is more seen. So that's some way we can help benefit them also.
Nice. That's awesome. I didn't even think about other languages, which, if you guys get on board with that, that'll be, I mean, not obviously there's a business side to this, of course, to make more sales, but like you said, to make it, hopefully a bigger impact to people around the world that have this condition. I mean, there's just so many conditions and illnesses and health related issues around the world that, it's some are very unique and some are tough, and, blessed or unblessed or however you want to look at this situation, I think you're definitely in a position to help a lot of other families, man. That's really awesome. Now, if you were to redo or if you were to make another book, would there be some things that you would do differently? Would you add some things, take away some things that make the process a little bit easier, or to maybe help increase sales or more awareness?
I would say I wouldn't do anything differently. The book pretty much got the point across, and I'm honestly not looking for sales. Like I noticed a small amount go to my bank account. I'm like, oh, I forgot about that. This is actually for sale.
Yeah.
But one thing I can do is just, like I said, just expand it more. I should have probably come out with different languages right off the back, so that the options are there for everyone to get into instead of people kind of waiting for me now to get back into it and then focus on helping them out. I think that's the only thing I'll do differently.
Nice. Well, where do people go if they want? The only place really is Amazon right now. Is there any
the
other
only place right
website?
now is Amazon. Yes.
Okay, so it's Amazon. Okay. All right. So what I'll do is I'll just put in the description of the show notes or something at the bottom. I'll put either the Amazon link itself or I'll put the title of the book. Because people will be either watching this or they'll be listening to it. So I'll give them both avenues of a way for them to go and check it out.
Perfect.
So, man, I know this was short, but there was, it was a pretty simple process. I actually didn't even think it was gonna be that easy, which I guess is a good thing. Because I'm not a writer. I mean, well, I do write and I write a lot of articles. I did a lot of copywriting and stuff like that, but I'm not a publisher, I guess. I don't know. Sometimes that creative part of me is like, I want to do something and I have it in my mind. I just can't get it out. So if I were to ever do something like this, if I were to ever do something like this, that's good to know that there's a really simple process out there for publishing a book. So I guess the only other thing that I would have is, do you have any last, pointers or tips, maybe one or two things that you would share somebody who is, either thinking about publishing a book or, maybe even has somebody with a child that's similar to yours?
I would say just don't be afraid to showcase the illness or the condition. I mean, one thing that we realized with my daughter is that she's going to react to her condition as we react, my wife and I. So if we're confident about it, we're not afraid to talk about it, then as she grows up, she's going to learn to have that confidence in herself. To if someone's looking at it, she's going to talk about it. And that's what we do now is where someone's kind of looking at her ear and we're just like, hey, do you want to know like more about this? And then my daughter is now like, she has a little hearing device that so she can hear a little bit better. And she loves wearing it everywhere. And when someone asks, hey, what is that? And we're just instantly, we're not like timid to talk about it. Like we're open, we're confident. And I think if you as parents or family members are like that, then you're just going to instill that within your child.
That's a very good, valuable tip, I guess, if you want to put it that way, because, I think people are just people, and we've all got our insecurities and stuff. And I, had them when I was growing up too. I was, obviously picked on, made fun of, and, all that other fun stuff. So that destroys your self-confidence. Like I know you mentioned that, you had some of that when you were little too, but, when we're given certain situations or certain health things, we're more conscious about that because, without going into too much detail, obviously there's some things obviously that I think we all have, even with myself. And I'm like, that's not like this person, or that's not like that person, and that's different. And so we start to kind of feel self-conscious about that. And so that's really awesome that you guys are really just trying to build that in her and normalize it, I guess it maybe is the right word. It's like, it's not, not everybody's different. Like normally make it, it's okay. Like there's nothing, we're all unique and individuals, I think is the biggest message I think that we can push out. So I really love that, man. And, I know this is the first time we've talked, and I'm really inspired by your story, and I really love what you're doing. And I hope that it continues to grow, and maybe bigger and better things come out of that. If anybody's listening to this, go and support them, go buy the book. If you're a company, a brand, or an organization who is in whether the medical industry or, publications, advertising, hit up Jacob Rosales. He's on LinkedIn. I found him on LinkedIn, by the way. Obviously, great guy. He's got a great sense of humor. And just get out there, go connect with people. Real appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for taking the time out today for being with us.
No, of course. Thank you so much, Mike.
All right, man. Take care.